Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of On the Infield. On tonight's program we'll bring to you round number 2 of the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series for the Murray Bridge Speedway. So please sit back and enjoy the action from Shane Best, Martin Hawson and the rest as they take on round 2 here at Murray Bridge. Heat number 1 now, round 2 of the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series now out on the racetrack here at the Murray Bridge Speedway. Of course, Shane Best won the opening round here a couple of weeks ago. Let's see if he can do it here again. But heat number 1 now on the racetrack, Kevin Lyons, Robert Uren, Mark Deckett and John Krieg, the first 2 rows here in the opening heat, over 12 laps into turn number 1 and 2, and you can see a little bit of contact already in turn number 1. There is Neil Watson in car number 3 out of Horsham in Victoria, tries to force his way through, and he now runs in the second spot, and now he makes the move at turn number 4 there for the race lead. So it's now the Victorian out in front, Deckett in the second spot in the Monaro. You can see further back in the packed cars jostling for position, almost 3 wide there in the exit of turn number 2, but it's Neil Watson who leads, but up the inside of him comes Deckett in that beautiful number 4 machine. Out of turn number 4 it's still Neil Watson who leads. Martin Hawson also in there in car number 1, the defending South Australian champion, ran second in the opening round of the series, now runs in the second spot here as he makes the move on Deckett in turn number 2, and also trying to force his way up the inside is car number 2, Jeremy McClure out of Victoria, and McClure now up into the third spot. As you can see further back, there's the Queensland number 4 of Wayne Miles, the BA Falcon in around about 7th or 8th spot at the moment. And the battle for second now between Neil Watson and McClure is starting to develop. In fact, McClure has now got the move for the second spot. Deckett now back up into third as he disposes of Neil Watson there in turn number 4. Also trying to force his way through, starting deep in this pack was the 49 of Brian Hayden. In fact, started on the back row, and he now runs in the 5th spot, giving Neil Watson a hard time. In fact, may have made a little bit of contact there in turn number 4. As we look further back through the pack, there's a 99 of Andy Hilly, also the MJS tree stump removal car of John Krieg, the number 75 machine, who started on the second row, slowly drifting back through the pack here in heat number 1. But our race leader is still Martin Hawson out of Mildura. Oh, nice hip and shoulder there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. In fact, that's Brian Hayden and the 3 of Neil Watson. And in fact, Watson has bought out the yellow. Obviously something wrong with the number 3 machine after the contact there. And it looks like Hayden may have been sent to the rear of the field in car number 49. As our leaders now exit turn number 4 past the VIP area. In that particular part of the racetrack, one of the best spots to watch speedway racing anywhere in the country. But it's Martin Hawson who continues to lead in the little Commodore as he goes through turn number 3 and 4. McClure still in the second spot. Another lap down in the books now for Hawson. In fact, have a look who's running third, the Queenslander Wayne Miles in car number 4. He started out of position number 10 in this one, so he's also charged his way forward. As we cross to our race leader in car number 1. You can see they're very composed behind the steering wheel, not too much arm movement inside the cockpit, suggesting the car is handling very nicely indeed. See the second place car starting to smoke slightly, the McClure number 2 as it goes through turn number 1. You can see that smoke really starting to be prominent out the back of the Commodore. As we cross further back in the pack, the 2 black machines at the tail of the field. 1 lap to go for our race leader Martin Hawson. Can McClure hang on? That smoke is starting to get a little worse, especially down in turns 1 and 2. In the final turn now is our race leader, and Martin Hawson will record heat race number 1 victory here in SAMSS Modified Sedan Series round number 2. Second will go to the 2 of McClure, and third to the 4 of Wayne Miles, the Queenslander. The last 6 laps running a time of 1:38 dead for the last 6 laps. Heat number 2 now on the speedway. Round number 1 winner Shane Best leads them in, and he leads them through turns number 1 and 2. As you can see, second, third and fourth almost 3 wide there out of turn number 2. Modified Sedans not scared to rub with a little bit of paint. As you can see, a big field of cars here this evening. But the race leader continues to be Shane Best. In the second spot is car number 11 of Kevin Fitzgerald. Then we go back to the 21 of Buck Haynes and the 31 there of Tony Hardy. They round out the top 4 at the moment, but it's Shane Best who's starting to clear out on the rest of the field here. First time we've seen Kevin Fitzgerald this season. He's putting in a pretty good display there in the second spot. Beautifully turned out race car, as we have a nice close-in shot of it as it heads into turn number 3 and 4. As it's 21 now of Buck Haynes. Has a bit of a push there in turn number 4. This may allow the 31 of Tony Hardy to make the move around the outside. He couldn't quite get the move. In fact, Buck Haynes has got the better of it and has put about 2 or 3 car lengths in between himself and Tony Hardy. And here comes the 7 now of Matt McClure. And McClure now moves up into the 4th spot. In fact, now looks to position number 3 as well as he goes to the inside of Buck Haynes. But the 31 now of Hardy back up the inside. This is great modified sedan racing out of turn number 2. As you can see, cars in close combat. And the 31 of Tony Hardy is half spun. Is collected by the 21 of Buck Haynes, and also further back in the pack the number 6 of Spider McCarthy, also involved in that one. But the race continues, and Buck Haynes continues to run in that 3rd spot. Tony Hardy still in 4th. And there's our race leader in car number 23. It's Shane Best as he heads down the back straight away past the pit gate down there in turn number 3. He's in cruise mode at the moment, out in front by quite a margin. Second is still the 11 of Fitzgerald, but right on his bumper is now the 7 of Matt McClure, as we've lost one of the cars further back in the pack. Spun it out to maybe the 33 of the Victorian Michael Solomon, and he brings out the caution. So on the restart, the 23 of Shane Best got an absolute beauty. He's about 3 or 4 car lengths in front already as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 once again. The 7 of McClure now looking to the inside of Fitzgerald for the 2nd spot as they make their way out of turn number 4. Fitzgerald machine had a little bit of a push there. This has allowed the 7 of McClure up the inside. McClure with a big slide job in turn number 1 and 2, but couldn't quite make it stick as Fitzgerald came back up the inside to regain the 2nd spot. But Best is clearing out in car 23. Since the restart, he has really gapped them. You see further back in the pack, that's the number 10 of Tony McKenzie. But McClure and Buck Haynes now in combat for 3rd and 4th, as now McClure looks to the inside of Fitzgerald. He really wants that 2nd spot. The 2 Commodores battling it out for 2nd and 3rd respectively, and Matt McClure finally gets the move to stick and is now a clear 2nd. Then it's Fitzgerald in car number 11, but the 21 of Buck Haynes now looking to the inside. This has been close combat right throughout the event. Fitzgerald has been attacked from all directions from a number of drivers, and in fact he slipped back down to 5th as the 31 of Tony Hardy also makes the move. But the checkered flag is out for Shane Best. 2nd will go to Matt McClure. 3rd in a great drive to Buck Haynes, Tony Hardy. Heat number 3 of the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series now out on the speedway. Tony McKenzie, Matt McClure, Andy Hilly and Spider McCarthy are the first 2 rows here in heat number 3 as we go racing under the beautiful floodlights here at Murray Bridge. Leading them out of turn number 2 is the 10 of Tony McKenzie, but right around the top side in car number 7 is Matt McClure, and he'll lead them right up against the fence out of turn number 4. McKenzie in the 2nd spot. There's Neil Watson in car number 3 out of Horsham in Victoria, but have a look at Tony McKenzie on the bottom side. Is Spider McCarthy trying to make it 3 wide down the back chute, but sliding around the outside is car number 7 of McClure. In fact, Tony McKenzie has spun it down there in turn number 4, and the caution lights around a complete restart here in heat number 3. McKenzie, McClure, then the 69 of Bronte Perkins and the 6 of Spider McCarthy. In fact, McCarthy's got a great start, and the 7 of McClure has dropped right back to around about 7th spot on the speedway. A terrible start there for Matt McClure. He'll got a lot of work to do now, but it's Tony McKenzie who leads McCarthy in car number 6. Then it's the 69 of Bronte Perkins, the 3 of Neil Watson in contact there in turn number 2 between Watson and also Spider McCarthy, and the yellow lights are out again. Once again a complete restart, and Matt McClure gets a second chance here. Made a terrible start last time around. In fact, he's done it again. Drifted very high and wide in turn number 2 and has dropped back 3 or 4 spots. But it's Tony McKenzie who leads in car number 10. Then it's Bronte Perkins in the 69. Then it's the 3 of Watson, the 7 of Matt McClure. Also the 21 there of Buck Haynes battling in round about 5th spot. But it's Tony McKenzie out of the southeast of the state continuing to lead in car number 10. Then it's Bronte Perkins out of Flaxley in the Adelaide Hills in the 2nd spot. Then it's Neil Watson in car number 3. In fact, Watson now looking for position number 2 as they head down the back straight away into turn number 3, and Neil Watson will make the move. Perkins just leans on him a little there in turn number 4, but Neil Watson will get the move. Matt McClure now looking for 3rd as he battles it out with the 69 of Perkins through turn number 2. Once again, a little bit of panel rubbing there between McClure and also Bronte Perkins, but Perkins continues to run in 3rd. McClure in all sorts of bother further back as the 21 and also the 4 make the move on him. So McClure not having the best of runs here in heat number 3, but out in front it is still the number 10 of Tony McKenzie. Then it's Neil Watson and the 69 of Bronte Perkins in 3rd spot. Now the 21 of Buck Haynes having a pretty good run here tonight. He's had a few problems with that car over the last season or so, but has got him worked out here tonight, and he runs in the 4th spot. But it's still Tony McKenzie, Neil Watson and Bronte Perkins, the top 3, and they're relatively safe in those positions at the moment as the battle for 4th and 5th between Buck Haynes and the 7 of McClure continues to rage. Also involved in there is the number 4 of Mark Deckett, who started pretty deep in the field here and is now looking for the 5th spot. The beautiful Monaro now looking to the inside of the 21 of Haynes. As you can see, a little bit of panel rubbing there, but no harm, no foul as they both continue to run through turn number 2. And in fact, Deckett got the move to stick, as too did McClure. So Buck Haynes shuffled back a couple of spots there. In fact, also now the 31 of Tony Hardy has also got past Buck Haynes. So the little black Commodore shuffled back about 3 spots there in one move. But it's still out in front, the 10 of Tony McKenzie, who's making it look pretty easy out in front. Neil Watson can't really run him down at this stage as they make their way down the back straight away. As you can see, the floodlights, or the lights of the township of Murray Bridge in the background. A beautiful setting here at Murray Bridge. The 360 metre venue here, one of the best in the country. Through turns number 1 and 2 once more. Down the back straight away, and McKenzie's been able to hold that lead for a majority of this event. Neil Watson really has no answer for him back there in the 2nd spot as the white flag comes out, signifying 1 lap to go for our race leader. Tony McKenzie on his way to a heat race victory here in heat number 3 of the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series. As you can see, just locks the left front wheel there going into 3 and 4. Out of turn number 4, checkered flag waiting for car number 10. Neil Watson in the 2nd spot. Bronte Perkins will hang on to 3rd. Then it's the 4 of Deckett and the 7 of Matt McClure. So the final heat now of the evening, the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series, round number 2. Wayne Miles, Michael Solomon, Jeremy McClure and David Smith. But watch out for Martin Hawson, who starts 5th in this one as they go through turn number 1 and 2. As you can see, the car's tightly packed. In fact, we've got the number 4 of Miles having a problem there, dropping right back through the pack to the pole sitter. Already out of this one. Rotten luck there for the Queenslander. But out in front is car number 2 at the moment, Jeremy McClure, as he heads down the back straight away. Martin Hawson right in behind him in car number 1. Then we've got the 19 of David Smith out of Mildura. In fact, quite a few Mildura drivers in this one. There's another one of them, the 33 there of Solomon. There's the number 9 of the Mount Barker driver, Terry Brown, further back in the pack. Normally one of the front runners here, not enjoying the best of evenings tonight, running in the 5th spot at the moment. But it's still McClure and Hawson out in front. Then it's David Smith, and here comes the 23 of Shane Best, who started position number 10 in this one, so he's starting to charge his way through the field. And in fact, now looking to the inside of Smith for 3rd. But it's still the 2 of Matt McClure. Can he hold on to take the win here? In fact, of course, the 2 of Jeremy McClure. Can he hang on? The number 1 of Martin Hawson has been on the pace all season long, and as you can see now, makes the move to take over the race lead, looking at 2 heat race wins here. as he heads down the back straightaway. Of course, top point scorer will start on the front row for the feature event, so Martin Horson looking pretty good for that if he can take out the second heat here this evening. There's also an added cash bonus for anyone who can win both heats and the feature, so Martin Horson may be looking at that cash incentive later on in the evening, as we see the 4 miles now back on the pace, so it must have been an intermittent problem there on the start. He'd be ruining the fact that he started on the front row and was unable to capitalise on it. He's back there in the 5th spot, but have a look at second now. McClure and Best battling it out. Shane Best won't want to drop too many points on the race leader, Martin Horson. Of course, Shane Best won his earlier heat as well. So Shane Best looking pretty good in the points here. If he can finish in the 2nd spot, which he's doing at the moment as he puts the move on McClure. So Best into the 2nd spot. I think he'll run out of laps. He won't be able to catch the race leader, Martin Horson. There's the 4 of Miles and the 9 of Terry Brown battling it out for what that'll be 4th and 5th on the racetrack. And there's our race leader, Martin Horson. Then it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the one picture there. Once Wayne Miles' car got back up to speed, it's pretty quick, but the earlier problem put him deep in the field. Shane Best making his way there through turn number 4, starting to break away a little bit from McClure, and once again McClure's machine smoking as it did in the earlier heat. Can Miles capitalise on that situation and at least make up one more spot on the racetrack? Oh, we've got a car slowing to a halt there in the middle of turns 3 and 4, and the caution lights will come out. In fact, no, the checkered flag coming out. Martin Horson, heat number 4 winner. So the final now for round number 2 of the SAMSS Modified Sedan Series. Martin Horson and Shane Best to lead them in 25 laps on the counter. And we're racing into turn number 1 and 2, and it's the car number 1 of Martin Horson who got the best of the start. Shane Best in the 2nd spot. Then it's McClure in car number 2, and then further back cars going in all directions. Also the number 7 of McClure involved, the 10 of Mackenzie, the 3 of Neil Watson, Bronte Perkins, Wayne Miles also involved further back in the pack. Cars battling for positions right through this field as they make their way out of turn number 4. It's still Martin Horson who leads. Shane Best in the 2nd spot. There's Mackenzie and Wayne Miles battling it out for around about 8th to 9th position as we see the 7 of Matt McClure make a big mistake. In fact, now the 4 of Miles looking to the inside. In fact, McClure's car not quite working properly as we cross to the replay of the start on board with Andy Hilly. As you can see, cars battling everywhere in front of him. Where do you go? Do you go to the inside? Do you go to the outside? Oh, there's the 94 of Robert Uren spinning out right there in front of him. Unique pictures here from the on the infield cameras out of Andy Hilly's EF Falcon. Number 99 machine, as you can see, there's the 33 of Michael Solomon just in front of him. Also the 11 of Fitzpatrick. You see how sideways these machines get around this 360 metre venue. Andy Hilly working very hard inside the cockpit.